My name is Shelly, and I am a grateful, recovering addict. I've been using since I was 14. I come from a very rough, turbulent household. My first shot in rehab, I was 15 years old. I had my first overdose at 15. I became a single mother at the age of 18 and had 2 kids at 19. I would go through these periods where I really wanted to be that mom. I just wanted to be a good mother. But there was something inside of me that would always draw me back out. I was out committing crimes with my kids with me, and those kids had to grow up like that. And that's my fault. I would go back and forth in between jails, rehabs, while my kids were being pushed to different family members. It was something I always wanted, but I could never imagine going through life without using or going to be able to have a couple drinks with friends, or that's all I ever know. I didn't know no other way to ever have fun. And you couldn't tell me that there was something that was so dark in me that really needed to be fixed. I have probably been to rehab 6 or 7 times. I was actually in jail when my mother passed away. Yesterday was my dad's death date. Having to process that, because I think last year I spent a lot of the time processing what he did to me, but this year I had to process what I did to him, which is part of, the healing process. So after I had lost my grandparents and my parents, I really went downhill. So we go through life, right? And a lot of people will condone our behaviors and they will enable us. When the last one passed, I was an adult with children and didn't even know how to be an adult. I tried it all. I even tried methadone clinics. I had tried Suboxone. I was the one that tried to do the California sober. None of it worked. Not for me. So that last stint, those same kids that I lost, that I had built this bond with and had them in my house 90% of the time, were now finding me OD'd, that were having to call 911 for their mother. I can remember having an OD and I was blocking the bathroom door. So the paramedics had to push my body out of the way and pull their arm in there to be able to Narcan me. And the first thing I heard was my daughter screaming my name, in a horrific way. Growing up, I had seen all this potential that I had, but I had lost that. You couldn't tell me I was worth anything. I'm willing to let the people that love me the most watch me suffer. I allowed my parents to go to the grave not knowing if I would ever be okay. I can remember them looking at me, my father, and asking me, "What would you do if I died? Who's gonna take care of you?" And I never had an answer for him. And then it played out. How I didn't lose that little boy is beyond me, because to be honest, I deserved it. Little boy was 2, 3 years old, running the house. And then I can remember looking at him one day and I was like, how long would he be in here with my dead body? And that's where the reality, because that was the reality of my situation. I had done pushed everybody away. Nobody came and checked on me anymore. And he couldn't even unlock the door. So how long would it be? It started to put a little fire in me, but at the same time, my self-worth is gone. And I don't know if I will ever be capable of feeling that. But I wasn't brave enough to allow somebody else to give that little boy what he deserved. Physically, I was dying. Having my middle daughter look at me and tell me she was done because she wasn't gonna be the one to find me dead. And me being so selfish that I'm texting her all the time and being like, answer me, please. I need you. Please don't do me like this. I need you, not the fact that she's a child and she needs me. I was suicidal, but scared to take my own life. I was doing so much fentanyl that I was hoping that it would just take me out. And every time I can remember, my eyes would open and I'd be like, why? Why did you wake me up today? I was a shell of a human being, a body. There was nothing else there. When I made the decision to call Landmark, at that point, it really wasn't even about me, because I was just trying to find my next breath. I couldn't even imagine a quality of life, you know what I'm saying? I was just trying to find life, and not even for myself, because I didn't want those kids growing up and feeling like I feel every day and not having somebody to call. not having somebody to depend on. So my first attempt to get here, I got here, I pulled up in that parking lot, I sat in the very back, and I used everything I had. I remember pulling to the door because it was getting ready to rain. It was hours later when I was surrounded by people, and I could just look over at them and be like, why didn't you just let me die? They tried to get me to go to the hospital, and I wouldn't. I went back home. It's like that's what my life consisted of. Waking up, trying to figure it out, going to get some drugs, coming back to the house, locking myself in the house, and I could just remember wanting to be free. And when I say free, like I mean free. Out of this cage that I had created around myself. Something I never knew, something I never had. I was a teenager as an addict. So the second day, I caused a 5-car pileup a mile away, nodding out at the wheel, and still me being selfish. I was more concerned about getting all of this stuff that I have instead of the people that was in front of me. There was a lady that couldn't even get out of her car, and I'm worried about, what do I have in this car? Let me get it and hide it. I had one of the employees tell me that they were supposed to leave at 10 o'clock that night, and he sat by my bed till 2 a.m. with Narcan, watching me breathe because my breathing was so shallow, which started 16 days of a horrible detox. 16 days I needed. Every sleepless hour that I had, every little bit of water I couldn't intake, the food that I couldn't eat, living in a shower, in a detox facility, laying in the bottom of a detox bathtub and not caring. As painful as it was in the process, it was exactly what I needed. I needed to feel that. Part of me died in Landmark that day. And it was the part that I needed to die. When I walk in, I hate myself. I can't look myself in the mirror. I don't feel like I even deserve my next breath, much less a hug, a kind word. And I can remember one of the employees looking at me and he was like, this one's gonna be a beacon of light one day. And I looked him dead in his eyes and I said, you don't know me. Every day I wanted to run. No, they knew. Shelly's gonna be here about 2 o'clock asking for a form. And I was every day for about a week and a half. For them to try to talk me out of it, I'd be like, why don't y'all just let me go? If you knew what I've done, if you knew who I was, you wouldn't care if I lived or died. But these people did, and they loved me. And for somebody like me to experience that, who's never even had it in a household growing up, was profound to me. Once I started to accept that, to accept those hugs and those kind words and to listen, something in me started to grow. I got to the point I took every suggestion. I was like, clearly you all know something that I don't. I've tried this 1,000,001 times in my life. And like I said, plenty of different rehabs, but Landmark made the difference for me, and it was the people. I've been to rehabs to where, oh, you want to go get some more? Well, here, go. Hope you make it back. And these people were like, no, sit still, feel this. You know what I'm saying? Let us love you through it. Rubbing my back while I was sick and just talking to me and telling me I was worth something. You're a human being. Take those drugs away and you're not who you think you are. I did it. I went through their program. I did their IOP. I did their recovery coach. Did their 90 and 90. I even took an extension in IOP because I bonded with these people, and like they became family, and I was scared to leave them. I couldn't imagine not seeing them anymore. The same executive director that sat beside me and was like, I think when I'm trying to leave, and like, I think anybody who wrecks their car and ODs in the parking lot needs to be here. Told me he hoped one day that I would come back and be one of his employees, and then hired me. And the beauty in this is that I found purpose in my pain. I went through life wondering why God would put me through this and why he would let me experience this and why he would put me through that. But now there's purpose behind that because I can share that experience with other people and I can give them just a little bit of hope. It's something about watching somebody come in and there's no life in their eyes and then watching them walk out with so much hope. They're alive again. You can see when somebody is defeated. And I remember I could look at pictures of me and I could see that in me. I was defeated, no hope. And if you have to hold on to what somebody else sees in you until you can find it in yourself, hold on to that. My life now those same kids tell me every day how proud they are of me. I am a full-time mother to that little boy who should have been taken from me. And I get to wake up every day and take him to school. I don't have to, I get to. And that's where, that's where the gratitude comes into play. I get to be that person for him. I get to be that person for those girls. And I get to be with them during their healing process too. Because this is not only about healing yourself, it's also about healing everybody else that you've drug along with you. I wake up free, and I never thought I would know what that was.